Nimrod and the Secret of Secrets, Part 3. Where we let the story last is that the fallen angels had come down to earth and given false secret wisdom to man, and promised to give man longevity in his life. Promised him all these kind of wickedness, and they began to lead men astray from God, so God decided to flood the earth. Psalms 82, God stands in the congregation of the mighty, he judges among the gods. How long will you judge unjustly and accept the persons of the wicked? Selah. This is David crying out to God. They know not, neither they understand. They walk in darkness. The foundations of the earth are out of course. I have said, you are gods, all children of the Most High, Benai Elohim. But ye shall die like men and fall like one of the princes.
Protect your mother. Protect them all.
Creator, forgive me. The Creator brings him home!
What an abomination of a movie. If you notice, he's calling on Shemyaza, who God, according to Enoch, had called a great judgment against, but in this movie he gets to be the protagonist, the hero. There's also a special emphasis on Ham, which is going to show to be important later. Now keep in mind, a great judgment went out against these fallen angels that no one can take off them, but yet in this movie they get to be the heroes. What's even more ironic about the movie is the very beginning of the movie. That's when you really start to see what it's all about. How the fallen angels of the stars had gathered together on Mount Hermon. Angels biblically are also referred to as stars. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his head. This is found in the book of Revelations. And his tail drew a third part of the stars out of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered, for to devour her child as soon as it was born. Now that is a reference to Jesus. These stars are angels. But let's continue the story of Noah. Genesis 8. And God spoke to Noah, saying, Go forth out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons' wives with you. Bring forth with you every living thing that was with you, of all the flesh of the fowl, the cattle, and every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth and be fruitful and multiply on the earth. Now, this is a renewing of the Adam and Eve story. God is again giving the earth to man because he made it for man. And the angels came and corrupted it with their false wisdom, with extending man's life, with all these other secret things. Now, if you've ever wondered how much God loves you, remember, he made the earth before he made the light. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Now, this is before he even created the light. And God said, Let there be light, and there was light. That means he made this and put you at the center of the universe and made the light revolve around you. It's you that was the apple of his eye. You're the one he loves. So back to the story of Noah. So Noah had 3 sons with him, Japheth, Ham, and Shem. A lot of people refer to this as the Table of Nations found in Genesis 10. We know that Japheth founded Europe and Asia. Ham came Southeast Asia, Canaan, and Africa, and parts of the Middle East. And from Shem came other parts of the Middle East and the Shemites. And Noah's sons began to have problems with each other. It's also found in the book of Joshua, how they had to end up dividing from each other. And according to the story, Ham had saw his father Noah naked, and he went and he shamed his father in front of his other brothers instead of covering his father up. So Noah then put a curse against Ham. And that's where I want you to concentrate here, because Ham gave birth to Cush. And Cush then gave birth to Nimrod. The Bible then goes on to record Nimrod as being a great hunter, very important, a great hunter within the earth. But if you look at a real translation, it would have said Nimrod became a mighty tyrant in the face of Jehovah. Book of Joshua. And Nimrod dwelt in Shinar, which modern day that's Sumeria. We call it Sumeria. And he reigned securely, and he fought with his enemies, and he subdued them, and he prospered in his battles. And his kingdom became very great. So he began to take power from the earth over the people, which is exactly what the fallen angels had done. They had taught man war. And all the nations and tongues heard of his fame, and they gathered themselves to him, and they bowed down to the earth, and they brought him offerings, and he became their Lord and King. And they all dwelled with him at the city of Shinar, and Nimrod reigned in the earth over the sons of Noah, and they were all under his power. And all the earth was of one tongue, and words were union, but Nimrod did not go in the ways of the Lord, and he was more wicked than all the men that were before him, from the days of the flood, even unto those days. So he started to lead man astray. And he made gods of wood and stone, and bowed down to them, and he rebelled against the Lord, and taught all of his subjects, the people of the earth, their wicked ways, and Mardon his son was more wicked than his father. This is also recorded in the Bible, Genesis 11. And they said, Go, let us build a city and a tower, whose top may reach into heaven. And let us make a name, lest we be scattered abroad on the face of the whole earth. So here they wanted to go back to doing what they were doing before the flood. But here they had to build a tower so they would be able to survive if God were ever to make a flood again. That's why they built this tower so high. They wanted to be able to escape another flood because they knew that they were going to rebel against God. And they were doing this directly because of the teachings of Nimrod. Verse 5, And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men built. And the Lord said, Behold, the people are one, and they have all one language. And this they began to do, and nothing will be restrained against them, which they have imagined to do. So God started to see that all the evils of man's heart were there again. Now it's very important you understand that they're just doing the exact same thing that happened before the flood. Now, how did they know the things that happened before the flood? Well, that's recorded in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is just another name for Nimrod. He who, the heart of all matters, has proven, let him teach the nation. He who all knowledge possesseth, therein shall he school all the people. He shall his wisdom impart, and so they shall share it together. Gilgamesh, he was the master of wisdom, with knowledge. Well, it's important here. Nimrod went searching for the secrets, and he found it. That's how he gained power, with knowledge. things. He was discovered the secret concealed. And handed down tradition relating to things pre-diluvian, that means before the flood. When on his journey, after all weary, worn with his toiling, engraved on a tablet, stored of all travail. You go on later to find out that it calls Gilgamesh 1/3 man and 2/3 God, which is exactly what was happening before the flood, the mixing of angel DNA and human DNA. So Nimrod went searching for the things from before the flood. That's why he's called the rebel. He rebelled against God because he went for exactly why God destroyed the earth. This secret wisdom and secret knowledge gave him power over man. It did make him smarter. If you remember what the fallen angels were teaching, they were teaching knowing the signs and the times and pretty much everything we understand is witchcraft today in the occult. So Nimrod brought this back to man, and man began to do whatever he wanted to do. And by doing this, he achieved another name as Atlas, or the one of the saviors of Atlantis, because he was able to take God's law and lift it up off of the people. The people now no longer had to listen to God's law, but they could do whatever they wanted to do. And by doing that, they started to separate themselves from God again. And so then they built the Tower of Babel in complete rebellion against God. So God, out of love, instead of destroying them, came down and confused their languages. This then took all the secrets of the Nimrod story and all the secret teachings and spread it throughout the earth, and Nimrod then began to take on many different names. Gilgamesh, Baal, Melkart, Adonis, Isham, Duzi, Dionysus, Bacchus, Orion, Mithra, Apollo, Ra, Tammuz, Osiris, Jupiter, Saturn. He began to take on all these different personas, but yet all the same guy. This was all the story of Nimrod. The true mystery of what he did here is he built the idea of a religious system. Now, all religions are all going to tie to Babylon, and in the next video I'm going to teach you what Nimrod's religion was. But it's important that you understand that he taught religion. Religion is man seeking godhood. It's not man seeking God. It has nothing to do with what God told us. God told us to humble ourselves and to serve him with our whole heart, not to chase religion, to feel good about ourselves. And those people who do worship God in spirit and in truth are called the crazies because they see outside of this religious paradigm. They have broken the mold that Nimrod and the teachings of the fallen angels put man into. A man that truly loves God has broken out of the religious paradigm. He loves God with full intent, with everything that's in him, with his whole heart. Now, the reason I'm making these movies is because I want you to break that mold. I want you to see what it is. Let God expose it in you. So I like to end the video with Proverbs 9. Wisdom hath built her house. She has hewed down 7 pillars. She has killed her beasts. She has mingled her wine. She has furnished her table. She's getting ready for a feast. She has sent forth her maiden. She has cried upon the highest place of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn thither. For he that wanteth understanding, she said to him, Come and eat of my bread, and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding. He that reproveth a scorner gets to himself shame, and he that rebukes a wicked man gets to himself a blot. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Give instruction to the wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. So the Lord is ready and willing to give wisdom and knowledge. You just have to ask. Part 4 will be coming soon.